Life for most of us contains a lot of everyday events, things that we do, people we see, or things that happen to us in any given day. These happen often. They become normal. When something becomes normal, it kind of becomes unseen and unnoticed. That's normalisation. Sadly, for people who were sexually abused as children, that abuse too becomes normal, and most likely, so did the ways in which those who survived tried to cope. Their responses also become normalised. Stay with me as we lift the lid on what may have been normalised in our lives and never should have. Hi, my name is Bruce. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse and I'm a Christian. You may not hear those two statements together all that often, especially from a male. And probably that's even rarer in church life, of which I've been in senior leadership roles for a couple of decades. These messages are about bringing awareness, healing, and recovery to all victims of sexual abuse, but especially males. It's about going from victim to survivor to thriver. Now, I do wish to advise you of my disclaimer. I'm not a medical professional, but what I intend to share is what has helped me over the years. Like myself, you need to determine what you feel is helpful and suitable for you. So I'll start this message by looking at normalisation, followed by suppressed memories. Normalisation is really about something being or becoming an almost everyday occurrence. When it happens, it's barely noticed, if at all. It seems normal. That's normalisation. So here's a few elements that contribute to childhood abuse being normalised. The abuse takes place in secret when we're young and innocent. If it's unseen and unknown about, then there will be no alerts, no red flags. What is unseen is unseen. Many aren't mature enough to see it as molestation. That can make it seem normal. The perpetrator's actions and deceptive manipulation acts, they also make it look like everything seems okay and everything is normal. Abusers can be family members, so that can also make it seem okay. And when this happens within a family environment, other families often don't know it's happening. Everything appears normal. So those are a few things that can make the abuse seem normal to the child victim. And for others looking in, the child's life may also seem and look normal. The underlying abuse is unseen. Next, I want to cover suppressed memories or repressed memories. Firstly, how do suppressed or repressed memories happen in the first place? Well, I'm not a medical professional, but from what I've read, it can start out as a child's way of intentionally blocking out memories of horrible things that may be happening to them. Or it can sometimes be the mind's way of protecting itself from horrible things that may be happening to a child. Either way, a victim, a survivor, can be left with no memories of the abuse for long periods of time. Sadly then, not only do the memories get suppressed, but survivors can detach emotionally to the point that they feel nothing or feel very little compared to other people who have not experienced such trauma or abuse. You know, they don't just block out the abuse, they block out everything. I can relate to that. I used to feel proud that my feelings were rarely hurt because I felt almost nothing. I thought that was a good thing, a show of strength. That was a very cold, detached way of living, and one that I now know is not the best way to live. We can learn to feel nothing, even during flashbacks or dreams. Unless you are in that recovery process, any flashbacks and flashbacks are images or feelings that come to your mind from the past. Unless those flashbacks can seem to have no effect also on your emotions. They ought to, based on what they are about. But if there is still memory suppression there, then there can also be emotional suppression at work. The same can happen with dreams related to the abuse. Now, when you are working through recovery, those same flashbacks and dreams can come with immense emotional impacts. Again, normal and to be expected. It's a coping mechanism. Suppressed memories can be the mind's way of coping. It can be a bit like watching a movie with scary parts of it. How many of us quickly cover our eyes, wishing away the scary scene we've just seen? Well, of course, you can't unsee what you've just seen, but we all do it. That's a form of coping, and survivors of childhood sexual abuse may find they have experienced memory suppression of the abuse as a coping mechanism. A big part of recovery is reclaiming lost innocence. As a survivor tackles potential suppressed memories, it can be helpful to understand what the benefits and outcomes of doing that are. Certainly, you can't go back in time, but you can reclaim a lost innocence. Knowing it was taken and knowing it was not your fault can help you forgive yourself if you need to remind your younger self that you did nothing wrong, you were innocent, and that childlike innocence was meant to stay with you. It was yours, and it should not have been taken away. When enlightenment comes, we start to see. This can feel overwhelming again for some, when we gain more understanding and awareness around what was lying beneath those repressed memories. They will be different for each person, but being aware, expecting the unexpected is to be expected. It is part of the process. We understand the worthlessness we may have felt. Feeling worthless is not a good feeling. Ask anyone who's experienced it. But that is a feeling that can come upon some survivors. It's a residual feeling from the abuse. If someone is worthless, then it doesn't matter what you do to them or what happens to them. If they have no value, then who cares? That's the thoughts that perpetrators must surely think towards their victims. Why else would they abuse an innocent child? So these feelings of worthlessness are not deserved by you, nor should you keep them. We see what has enslaved us. This is another layer of awareness that may come to mind. It's not until a restriction has been lifted from you that you may feel what an effect it has had on you. Finally, many wish for the memories to disappear. That doesn't happen. The awareness of repressed memories may be like a gift that you would now rather not have received. Sadly, it doesn't work that way. Once unlocked, those repressed memories tend to stay. That's certainly been my experience and that of others I have spoken with over the years. I know I've tried that selective amnesia prayer to God. So far, that's gone unanswered. Well, you've made it this far as we've covered normalisation and suppressed memories, all parts of awareness in regards to childhood sexual abuse, its impact and its effect on victims and those in their lives. Let me close with this Bible verse and I'll explain why I see its relevance to what we've just covered in this message of awareness. This is Luke chapter 6 and verse 45, which says, "A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." As we think about the things that come from our heart, the things that have been stored up there, the abuse has also lived there, along with the lies that accompany it. Without knowing it, we may have been living life with those dark things in our hearts coming out and tainting our actions and words. Now that we have more awareness and more accurate memories, we can allow God's light and truth to fill our hearts, replacing evil lies with love and truth. If you're up for it, allow God to give you a heart transplant in the spirit of Luke 6:45. Thank you for joining me with this content. It's always my intention that this helps you or helps you to help others. In addition to other content like this, I wanted to let you know that I have an introduction clip and also my personal testimony. I encourage you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you are notified when additional content is available. Perhaps a little strange on a channel like this is the like button, but I'd ask you to press that if you have found the content in this message helpful. I hope you join me again soon.